What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 29, and yes, in today's episode we are starting the new season with West Bromwich Albion. As you can see, our league objective is the same as last year, so is our domestic cup, that is finishing mid-table and also get to the round of 16 for league and cup. And in the Europa League, all the board wants to do is reach the group stage. That should be easy enough for us. And the transfer market is obviously open now as we enter the new season and come into July, and we've been given a budget of £14 million and 70 grand on a wage budget, so that's what we expected. It's not over what we expected, it's not under what we expected, it's around exactly what we thought we were going to get. I said maybe around 13, 14, 15. 14 million was probably what I was predicting, and that's what we've got. So, it's not bad. We can sign a couple of good players, but nothing major. Of course, we've still got a long way to go before we can play with the big money and sign the best players, but even so, it's good enough to help us sign a few players for this squad, help it develop, and there you go. Also as well, I'm going to try and sign our youth star, Kevin Savanier. And here are the three players who got on pre-contract: Kim Seung-yu, Zambrano, and Fabian Delph. And those are some pretty decent pre-contracts. Kim Seung-yu, they're all quite average, obviously, but they're all going to do the job for us, which is good. And also Kevin Savanier, the French winger, the left midfielder, is 70 overall. He's 16 years old, obviously. He's the Scout Future Star. He looks okay, not too much pace, not too much about him physically. Technically looks pretty decent for just a 16-year-old, so not too bad at all. 3-star skills, kind of disappointing. I was hoping for 4 or 5, obviously. And a 3-star weak foot 2. Low medium work rate is horrible for a winger who you'd want to push up, really. But, he'll do as a player as cover, and we might loan him out, we might just play him in cup games. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But Julian Green as well, I'm going to try and sign this guy on loan from Bayern Munich, of course. He's in my American squad as we go into the South American Cup with the USA. Of course, I've already said with America, I have no plans to play any games whatsoever. I'm just going to simulate them. The reason being is quite simple. I don't really have any motivation to do so, and that was always the plan anyway. I know a lot of you guys wanted me to join Australia as well. There was so many people saying Australia and USA, and I said during the time I took the USA job and when Australia came in, the nation was always going to be a stepping stone. Whoever we chose, it wouldn't matter. We would always simulate the games. And as we get Julian Green on loan here for our first sign, that could be good for us. He's a very rapid winger. This South American Cup could be fun to play, but I've got no interest in it. I just want to simulate it and see how the lads get on, basically, because I'm waiting for a bigger nation, obviously. It would be fun to do a project, but for me personally, it's not too much of an interest for me whilst we're managing a project for a club as well. The USA is just a side story, so in that South American Cup, you'll just see the game simulated, and that's just how it is. We drew both against Chile and Argentina, and we've got our third group stage game against Ecuador to come. Also, I'm going to go in for some players in today's episode for transfers. Everyone loves transfers, of course, and I'm going to be looking at players that are with clubs that were relegated last year, just because we might be able to get them cheaper now they've dropped a division. Ravel Morrison was one I said I was really interested in with West Ham, now they've been relegated to the Championship, and also Aaron Creswell as well. We really need to strengthen the flanks of our side, we really do. Our spine of the team is really good. Foster, great goalkeeper. Our centre-back area is great. You think about it, Zambrano now in on a free, Nastasic, Lescott and Vestergaard. Central mid, well, Delph, Malumbu, Jakob, Hughes, Sessignon, and loads of great central midfielders and obviously strikers as well. And Ichibi, Ade, Berahino, Ings. We don't really need to worry about the spine of the team. We need to worry about the flanks, the fullbacks and the wingers. They're not the best in this squad. So as you can see, I'm going in for players like Trippier. I put in a bit for Carroll as well because I love Carroll, but I don't think that's going to happen. But Trippier and Creswell as well, and there was someone else I was looking for there, wasn't there? Oh yeah, Ravel Morrison, because he can play out wide for us if we need to do so, because he's got the pace to do so. But even so, I don't really see too many deals coming off in this transfer window, because yes, we do have 14 million, but as I did say in my first episode of Career Mode, money goes really fast. It really does. You'd be surprised how much you get through in such a short space of time. As we beat Ecuador with the USA in our last group stage game and go through to the knockout stages of that competition, you'll be surprised how quick your money goes. So I can't see us signing too many class players. I think, again, just like last season, we're going to be relying on young players with potential who we can develop for the future, because although I would like to sign really good established players players right now. I just don't think we got the money to pull off too many transfers. So we're going in for Sam Byram as well. I looked at him last year, wasn't too sure, and we'll see whether we can get him or not. And Sessegnon is on his way to Spurs, it seems, as well. They put in a bid of 2.5 million. He's valued at 2.6, but I counter offer for 3 million, and you'll see they do accept that as well. I don't mind getting rid of Sessegnon because he's on the downslope. He's decreased 2 ratings already, and if we can get 3 million for him, that's 400 grand more than his valuation, and he's on really high wages here. I'll be okay with that because we've got the replacements already in players like Jakob and Malumbu and Hughes, and obviously Delph come in now as well. So I'm okay with that one as well. Loads of rejections for the bids we put in too. Kieran Trippier and Aaron Creswell. Both West Ham and Burnley don't want to sell their players, which are not really surprising. They're both decent fullbacks as well, 24, 25, so still got years ahead of them. And as you can see, Pochettino and Spurs did match the £3 million counter offer. So yeah, it looks like Sessegnon's on his way. I'm okay with that, and that'll give us a bit more money to work with. And Andy Carroll as well, as you can see. I put in a joke bid really at 2.5 million, but there's no way we're going to get hold of Carroll because West Ham will ask for a lot of money. They spent, I think it was 15 million on him in total when they actually brought him from Liverpool, so he's going to cost us a bit too much money. But I found this guy on the loan list, Santiago Grillo of Manchester United and Argentina as well. He's valued at £1.1 million. He's only 18 years old, clearly a new gen / regen, and he's 73 overall already, so he's only 15 grand a week as well on the wages. So I'm going to put in a loan offer for him and see if we can get him just for cover, because of course with Sessegnon now leaving to Spurs, if he comes in on a loan deal, he's only 2 ratings lower and he's 12 years younger. I think that would be pretty good business, to be honest, because he will of course be a cover player regardless of what happens. Also inquired about Todd Kane from Chelsea as well, but he's not too great, and I had him last year in career mode as well, so I'm not too sure whether I'll go in for him anyway. But Leeds rejected a bid for Sam Byram, not a real surprise. They wouldn't let us take him last year, and West Ham rejected a bid for Morrison. I really do want these young, talented players. I really do. I think they'd be very, very good for our squad. But again, I did say in the last season, the problem is that these players are going to be going for way above their valuations. And I don't particularly want to spend too much money on players who may or may not develop. Because, when you look at it, we spent £4 million on Will Hughes last year. He was supposed to be our star signing who was going to develop really well. And he didn't grow a single rating. I bought a beta for 2.5 million, I think it was, and he only went up once despite being a first team regular all season. So I'd like to get these players, but I don't know, I don't want to spend way over their valuation and turn out they're quite poor again, so we'll have to wait and see. But with Callum Chambers as well, obviously a lot of you have been asking me to get him back. Obviously we had him on loan last year and I wanted to pick him up on a permanent deal, but it seems even though he's only got a year left on his contract, we can't get hold of him because, again, as you'll see, Arsenal do want quite a bit of money for him, and I don't want to spend all my money on one player. But also Arsenal have 3 right backs right now, Chambers, Debuchy and Carl Jenkinson, who's just completed his loan spell at West Ham. So I wouldn't mind getting hold of Jenkinson either, because he could probably go for a bit of a cheaper deal than Callum Chambers would. And of course he's only 3 years older. I wouldn't mind getting hold of Carl Jenkinson if the Callum Chambers deal falls through, which it probably will. But of course we are into the South American Cup quarterfinals. We did qualify after 2 wins and a draw with the USA, but of course I was simulating all the games, so I wasn't really bothered what happened or not. But as we took on Brazil, I was fully expecting us to lose this game, and Thiago Silva gave them the lead, and Johansson missed a penalty for us in the 32nd minute. But as you'll see later on in this game, we did equalise through Clint Dempsey and took the game into extra time. And after Neymar scored and made it 2-1, we equalised again through Johansson, and we won the game on penalties. I'm saying we, I haven't even played a game with USA yet, but the USA won the game on penalties and made it through to the semi-finals against Brazil. Absolutely crazy. But even so, I'm still not bothered, but it's nice to see the USA doing well without my help, isn't it? And after that, again, West Ham rejected the bid for Aaron Creswell. I really like this guy. I thought he was good in the Championship, and obviously now he's back. Now he's playing for West Ham. I think he's made a pretty decent start to his career at Upton Park, and he's got really good stats, Creswell, as a left back. He really does. His technicals for a left back at 25 years old look really decent. His crossing stat is 81, I think it is. He could be a great player to ping in balls for a day and Berahino, and if he's playing in Ichibi, he's obviously a really physical striker. So yeah, I think he could do quite well for us, and we'll try and see whether we can get him or not. But Sessegnon did go to Spurs for £3 million. We'll get 2.5 of that, and again, I'm okay with it. We got Delph in as a replacement, and we've also got that Argentine in as cover on loan, and that's okay with me. It's okay that he's gone. I don't think we're going to need him, and he was decreasing in stats. Putting a new bid for Andy Carroll and also Kieran Trippier as well. Again, Burnley and West Ham do not want to let go of these players, which isn't a real surprise, and it's frustrating because Carroll now in the Championship, an England international, former Liverpool striker, very decent player. I would have thought personally that West Ham would be less reluctant to sell him than they currently are. Of course they would be reluctant because he's a really good striker. It's 77 overall, I think he is, but at the end of the day I would have thought that personally they wouldn't want to hold us to ransom over him, which currently they are doing. Arsenal weren't happy with the bid for Callum Chambers. He's valued at £2.1 million. We put in a bid of 2.5, but I just don't think we'll get him because I think they're going to ask for about £4 to £5 million plus, and I don't want to spend that much money on it because although he is a great right back with a huge future ahead of him, we need to save as much money as possible because we do need to strengthen as many areas in the squad as possible. Santiago Grillo, that Argentine CAM, is coming in from United on loan. Just said it there. Obviously he is a decent player. He looks decent at 73 overall, and I said he's decent like I've used him before. He's a new gen or a regen obviously, but I think he could be a decent player for us as a cover, and I'm pretty pleased that he's came in to replace Sessegnon as a cover player at the attacking mid slot. We also signed a random goalkeeper from our scout report, Billy Akinfenwa. Not sure whether he's got an older brother in FIFA, but he could be a decent goalkeeper in the future. And as you can see, more rejects from West Ham, Leeds, Arsenal and Chelsea for Creswell and Byram and Morrison, and there was another player as well I was looking at, and we just I don't know about any of these players. I really don't. I'd like to get hold of at least one of them, and we need a good fullback for this year because obviously Callum Chambers now back at Arsenal after his loan spell, and Abita never grew. We do need to get a new fullback in on both sides really, both right back and left back, but I'm not too sure what's going to happen. So we put in new bids, new bid for Sam Byram as well. Would love to get the guy from Leeds, but not entirely sure whether it's going to work out or not. And we also see as well that we put in a new bid for Carl Jenkinson. They want £4.2 million for him, and I don't mind paying that. We've got the money, but the thing is, if we do spend that on Carl Jenkinson plus his wages, which are quite high at 45 grand a week, we'll have to adjust the budget and we'll have less money to work with, and we need to strengthen the wide areas, the wingers as well as the fullbacks too, and I want to make one or two signings after that as well. So I'm not too sure I want to pay that. We'll have to wait and see. Jenkinson might be coming in, Byron might be coming in, Trippier might be coming in. We've got 3 other targets to look at if that deal falls through. We took on Argentina with USA for the semi-finals of the South American Cup, and we did go out in this game, so it was great to see that America did go all the way to the semi-finals without my help, but Argentina do knock them out in the semis, which is kind of a shame. But even so, I wasn't bothered. I simulated all the games, and it's good to see that they can do the job without me at least. And there you go. Still, we put a new bid for Kieran Trippier of £3.5 million, which is £1.5 million over his valuation, which I don't really want to pay, but again, we kind of have to really. And also Andy Carroll, West Ham rejected a bid of his valuation at £5.5 million, so I put in a straight bid of £7 million, and we'll wait and see what the lads from Upton Park say, because I would like to get him, but I don't see it happening. But Arsenal did accept a £2.75 million bid for Carl Jenkinson, which is actually a relatively decent deal. I know it's about 900 grand more than he's worth, but he's a decent right back. 73 overall, so he's only 2 ratings lower than Chambers, and he's only 23, so he's got years to grow. I'm not going to say he's going to be as good as Callum Chambers, but he's a decent right back. He's cheaper, and of course that's what we need to worry about right now. We need to worry about saving as much money as possible so we can work on more areas in the squad. So I'm okay with that, and it looks as though Carl Jenkinson is going to come in, and we're putting a new bid for Aaron Creswell as well at £4 million. We'll wait and see what West Ham say. Again, it's a bit of an overspend for the guy, but really we need 2 fullbacks, a left back and a right back this year, and we'll wait and see what happens. In the 3rd and 4th place playoff, USA did lose to Uruguay, unfortunately by 3-1. Again, wasn't fast, but even so, they did a good competition without us, so they didn't really need us, to be honest. And as well, Arsenal now want £5 million for Callum Chambers. So I was like, what? You just said 4.2 million a minute ago and now you want 5? Seriously? So I don't think this deal is going to come off. I think we're just going to settle for Carl Jenkinson because I'm okay with that. There's only 2 ratings below them, between them, and Jenkinson's only 3 years older and still only 23 years old. So I'm okay with Jenkinson ahead of Chambers. And Burnley now want 4.8 million for Kieran Trippier, and it's just it's way over his valuation. It really is, and we're just not going to pay that. Trippier might turn out to have more potential than Jenkinson, Jenkinson? I don't know, but I don't want to pay that much money. It's way too much for me. We put in a new bid of £3.75 million plus Hector Bellerin, 3.86 million I should say, but I don't really see it happening. I think we're going to have to settle for Carl Jenkinson. And also West Ham said they wanted 10.5 million for Andy Carroll, and I was like, well, I love Andy Carroll, but there's no way I'm paying that much money. That's a hell of a large chunk of my budget. That's 2/3 of it gone on one player who we don't particularly need because our striker area is one of our best. So I did decide to put in a bid of £4 million plus Victor Anichebe, because, you know, they're sort of similar strikers, really physically strong and aerial presence type of strikers. But, you know, I'm not sure whether I'd want to do that deal anyway, to be honest. But we'll wait and see what West Ham say. £4 million plus on each of be, and yeah, I wouldn't mind that, but we'll have to wait and see. Also, after that, we saw a transfer offer was put in for Ben Foster, our captain and goalkeeper, and of course, we had no plans to sell him. He won Player of the Season last year, debatably, and there's no reason I'm selling him. And also, Leeds wanted £4 million for Sam Byram, so I was like, yeah, it's not going to happen, let's be honest. You know, I put in a new bid for him of 2.86 plus Bellerin, just like I was doing for Trippier. But no, Jenkinson's on his way in at the moment, and there's no reason to spend more money on a player who's probably got less overall. Put in a bid for DeAndre Yedlin as well, of now Tottenham Hotspur. And of course, my American squad too. He's one of the quickest in the game. I'd love to get him on my right back area. That would mean we've got two rapid right backs in Gamboa and Yedlin. But I can't see it coming off, because again, I think that Spurs are going to hold us to ransom, just like Burnley, West Ham and Leeds have been doing for their right backs, and Arsenal as well. But I don't see it happening, to be honest. But as you can see, West Ham did accept a transfer offer for Aaron Cresswell of £4 million, and also Carl Jenkinson did accept his contract to join us at the Hawthorns. So Jenkinson comes in for £2.75 million. Again, probably a little bit of an overspend, but that's what you've got to do on FIFA nowadays. And also as well, West Ham accepted a £4 million deal for Aaron Cresswell, almost double his valuation. But again, we needed two fullbacks, and we look as though we are going to complete those deals. He's 5 ratings higher than a beta as well, so he could be a decent player for us. And also, it looks as though Kieran Trippier is on his way to Everton, as they put in a bid of 4.4 million, which got accepted. These are Jenkinson's stats, as again, he looks quite similar to Callum Chambers. Looks pretty decent, so I'm relatively happy with that deal personally. I think that's probably the best we could have done. You know, we would have been overspending on Trippier and Byram, and obviously Jenkinson was going to cost us way too much money as well. So really, I think that was the best we could have done in terms of value for money. So I'm happy with that deal. He's got potential anyway, Jenkinson. He may not be as good as Chambers in the future, but he's got potential. And there you go. Arsenal and Burnley just basically rejected the deals for Chambers and Trippier, and also Leeds rejected a bid for Byram, so I just thought, screw it, there's no point anymore. You know, we've got our man in Carl Jenkinson, we'll just leave those as they are and delete those emails. We also had a pre-season friendly against Stade Rennais. I simulated all 3 pre-season friendlies. You'll see the first of 3 in this episode, and we ended up beating Stade Rennais, which was nice, although Chris Brunt did get an injury, and I get so many injuries when I simulate games, and Chris Brunt is going to be out for 6 weeks, which means he'll miss the start of the season, and that's kind of annoying, because again, we don't have too many wingers, and that's annoying to know he'll be out for the first couple of games. But Aaron Cresswell did indeed accept his contract, so he becomes the 4th signing of the season, along with those 2 loan players and also Carl Jenkinson. So 2 fullbacks come in, not the most exciting, but we needed to get those areas strengthened, and we've done so. So again, a bit of an overspend at £4 million, but I'm relatively pleased with it. But that is going to end the episode there. So as always, a big thank you for watching the video. I really hope you have enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed today's episode, then please do leave a like. It was a super long episode, so if you did enjoy the video, then please do leave a like, and I will see you for another episode of Career Mode later on tonight, where we'll be starting the regular season with West Bromwich Albion in the Premier League against Newcastle, and there might be some transfers in that episode as well. So thanks for watching, leave a like, enjoyed, and I'll see you later on tonight for another episode.